clearly on 9/11, the American people reacted predictably. But it was necessary for an attack of that order to be carried out to justify not only the foreign activity, the military mobilization, the economic warfare, but also the very draconian measures that have been taken here. The Patriot Act, the Homeland Security Act, the violation of much of our Constitution, and other legislation that is pending right now.
Michael Mitchell, who was the Minister of Great Britain for 6 years,
right,
he used your example of your organization to say that everything on 11 September was well known in the administration. They let it happen just to promote the new agenda. How you respond to that?
I mean, it's ludicrous. It's not true, and it's really beneath contempt. I mean, the idea, whatever people can like George Bush or Dick Cheney or Colin Powell, or they can dislike them, but the idea that they would somehow have a conspiracy to get thousands of Americans killed so they could do what? Go to war in Afghanistan and go to war in Iraq? I mean, it's really beneath contempt.
I take the charitable interpretation, and that is gross negligence, gross misfeasance in office. They just didn't know what to do. Others consider that they knew a lot more and let it happen. That may be, but it's not important to me. What's important is when it happened, then there was a deliberate decision to exploit it. This terrible event was exploited, and the fears stoked so that most Americans would be brought to believe whatever the president said.
The Bush presidency was a very different matter through September 10th, 2001. His popularity was falling, and on September 10th it appeared very evident that he was doomed as a president. He looked very much like a one-term president. Then came September 11th, and everything changed.
I've got some documents here that I just would love for you to see. This is a document recently declassified. It was declassified when I was in Congress. Dated May 11th, 1965. It's the first time I've ever seen a U.S. government document talking about the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But we know that in Operation Lantern Spike, that Dr. King had been targeted and had military intelligence officers tracking him for the last 2 months of his life, March and April. And 240 military intelligence personnel were assigned to Operation Lantern Spike tracking Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But they tell us that they don't know what happened on April the 4th, 1968. Now, why is all of that important for September 11th? It's important because some of us understand that when the government tells us we don't need to know, we very darn surely need to know. And when the government tells us something as trite and simplistic as we were hit because we are free, as an African American, I know I'm not free. And so therefore, that's not why we were hit. It must have been something else. And that something else is what the American people are owed.
Τα ερωτήματα είναι πολλά και παραμένουν ακόμη αναπάντητα. Το βέβαιο είναι ότι με τις τρομοκρατικές επιθέσεις στις 11 του Σεπτέμβρη ο Μπούς κέρδισε την νομιμότητα που του έλειπε από τις εκλογές του 2000. Γιατί όπως είναι γνωστό στις εκλογές εκείνες, τις εκλογές thriller, ο Γκόρντον είχε κερδίσει με 500.000 ψήφους διαφορά. Ο Μπούς επελέγει από το Ανώτατο Δικαστήριο των Ηνωμένων Πολιτειών και πολλοί λένε ότι έκλεψε ψήφους στη Φλόριδα για να εκλεγεί. 3 χρόνια μετά τις εκλογές του Νοεμβρίου του 2000 κάναμε μια μεγάλη έρευνα στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες. Θα σας παρουσιάσουμε πως κλέβοντας μερικές ψήφους μπορείτε να βρεθείτε μέχρι στο Λευκό Οίκο. Ρεπορτάζ χωρίς σύνορα κάθε Δευτέρα στις 10 και 4 το βράδυ. Κυρίες και κύριοι, γεια σας. Την επόμενη Δευτέρα, 20 Οκτωβρίου, καλημέρα Ιράκ. Παρακολουθήσαμε για μία εβδομάδα έναν πατέρα που αγωνίζεται υπέρ της ειρήνης, ενώ τα δύο παιδιά του πολεμούν στο Ιράκ. Μπούς εναντίον Μπούς. Ποιους υπουργούς σήμερα αποκαλούσαν τρελούς στη CIA του μπαμπά Μπούς. Μια διεθνής αποκλειστικότητα. Αποκάλυψαν ότι η γυναίκα του δουλεύει για τη CIA. Αποκλειστική συνέντευξη με τον πρέσβη Πέτρο του Σκανδάλου που συγκλονίζει σήμερα την Ουάσιγκτον. Αμερικανοί ειρηνιστές στο Ιράκ. Ένας πρώην υπουργός δικαιοσύνης μαζεύει υπογραφές για την καθαίρεση του Τζορτζ Μπούς. Τα γεράκια του Πενταγώνου ζητούν περισσότερους στρατιώτες στο Ιράκ. Η αυξανόμενη εμπλοκή των ΗΠΑ και τα διέξοδα. Μην χάσετε τις επόμενες εκπομπές. Την επόμενη Δευτέρα 20 Οκτωβρίου, Καλημέρα Ιράκ. Δευτέρα 3 Νοεμβρίου, πώς να κλέψετε το Λευκό Οίκο.